Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, the podcast where we discuss all things USMT y la selección mexicana. My name is Adrian. Joining me once again, my co-host Tocayo, Adrian. Adrian, what's up, man? How are you, bro?
Hey, how's it going, dude? Over here, Tuesday night, getting ready for another weekend of Liga MX and those sprinkle matches of Mexico.
Yeah, those little matches that happened starting this Thursday, man, when Mexico plays Inter de Porto Alegre on January 16th, and then they play River Plate on January 21st. Two random matches. This
Yes.
January cupcake now that Mexico's doing this year with nothing but Liga MX players. But I think it's a good opportunity for Vasco to see some maybe fringe players. And, even more so now that we got the news of those changes in the lineup. But so, Adrian, speaking of those changes, what were those changes and how do you think they're going to affect this lineup for Vasco?
Yeah. So as you and I mentioned during our previous episode about these upcoming matches in South America, there was a list that got dropped, and within that day and a week after, 3 players actually got dropped from that specific roster. 2 of them, as we know, Luis Romo and Jesus Chiquete Orozco, both of them were requested to be omitted from the list because of some transfer issues they were dealing, right? As you all know, there was a novela happening between Cruzazul and Chivas where these 2 players were involved. They needed to secure Luis Romo transfer to Chivas in order to get Chiquete Orozco moved to Cruzazul. So both teams requested Vasco Aguirre to postpone their call-up or at least not include them on this trip to South America just to avoid any potential risk of them getting injured and having this transfer fall down. And the last one has to be, or it is, Jesus Angulo from Tigres. Unfortunately, Angulo got dropped because of a recent injury that he catch before the match against San Luis this previous weekend in Jornada 1 of Liga MX that you can watch our preview. Not preview, our weekly roundup on the previous episode that we just dropped this week. But anyways, those are the 3 omissions that we have with La Lista de Convocados. The only two replacements out of these 3 that come in are, if I'm not mistaken, it is 2 players from Mazatlan. One of them, Roberto Meraz, and the other one, Gustavo Sanchez. Don't ask me what I know about these players because even that we follow Liga MX so closely as we do, these are complete strangers for me.
All our Mazapan followers, let us know in the comments below. Are these players any good? Because, to be called up here, at least in the Camp Cupcake, they have to be doing something right. But that brings the lineup, Adrian, for the convocados. Porteros, Tala Rangel, Andrés Sánchez, Fernando Tapia. Defenders, Ramón Juárez, Víctor Guzmán, José Castillo, Eduardo Águila, Jesús Gallardo, and Gustavo Sánchez. Medios, José Ramírez, Elias Montiel, Roberto Meraz, Eric Lira, Pedro Pedraza, Gilberto Mora, Rivaldo Lozano, Jorge Rubalcaba y Jeremy Márquez. Y delanteros, forwards, Efraín Álvarez, Santiago Muñoz, Guillermo Martínez y Raimundo Muñoz. So a lot of core Liga MX here. Obviously, it's all Liga MX, but, if you watch, if you're a fan of Liga MX, you recognize a lot of these names. And, Adrian, they're playing opposition that, like we mentioned in our, a preview of these South American tour video, opposition who's currently Inter de Porto Alegre, coming off of a tournament, right? We know that their tournament ends in December, and so they're kind of maybe off season right now. They finished 5th in the Brazilian Serie B, with their last couple matches being, their last 3 matches actually being losses. They lost to Flamengo back in December 1st. They lost to Botafogo, who was the champion of the Serie A, 1-0 on December 4th. And then on December 8th, they lost to Fortaleza 3-0. So maybe not the best ending to the season for them, but they'll be looking to kind of, start their offseason with a win here against Mexico. And River, they haven't been so lucky here to be frank, they haven't played since October. But their last couple matches were in Libertadores, where they qualified 2-1 aggregate against Colo-Colo, and then they got knocked out 3-0 by Atlético Mineiro back in the end of October. So their league starting right up. I think that's going to be the real big test for Mexico. It's going to be very much so, I believe, that one a starting or close to starting lineup for River Plate. So that will be a good, interesting match for Mexico there. What are you thinking lineup-wise, bro?
Lineup wise, dude, I think this one was a tough one, dude, because I scoured the internet to get any glimpse of what Vasco Aguirre is thinking. I think we're gonna see a 4-4-2 formation that we have seen with Vasco Aguirre in the most recent matches and over last year. I think it's a no-brainer that Raúl El Tala Rangel will be the starting goalkeeper. He definitely has the advantage over Fernando Tapia and Alan Sanchez. I think the center backs will be Victor Guzman, El Toro Guzman from Monterrey, Ramon Juarez from America, who is the only America player that was released for this specific tour in South America. I think we'll see Jose Castillo as the right back, and of course Jesus Gallardo, the left back, the one and only Jesus Gallardo, who is part of this World Cup team that we'll see him most likely in 2026. So
Right.
here we go. Medium, I was going to say mediums, medios, midfielders. Efraín Alvarez from Cholos, Eric Lira from Cruzazul, Elias Montiel, Gilberto Mora, and Raimundo Fulgencio. Those are, I say 5 midfielders, but one of them will most likely play close to the number 9. And the number 9, that forward that we'll see, is going to be Guillermo El Memote Martinez. The way that I envision this dude is like it's a 4 in the back, 2 in the middle, 2 wide open, and then 2 right up top.
Gotcha. Before I go to you, I want to mention some key figures that I think should strive to stand out here, who maybe are on the fringe of trying to get into the A-B squad, but can use this. I think Eric Lira has a good chance to perform here. We know he got called up previously. He didn't get a chance to play, or if he did, it was very minimal. I can't recall. Memote Martinez. We know that Mexico right now, I wouldn't say it's a striker crisis because they have Raul Jimenez who's firing on all cylinders, but Santiago Jimenez can't score for Mexico to save his life. Henry Martin is injury prone, to say the least. So Memote can use this as a platform to kind of say, hey, Vasco, I'm here, I'm scoring goals. And I think, like you said, the one and only Jesus Gallardo, who is maybe the one mainstay and the leader that's going to be leading this defense and this team, right? The one with the most experience from this roster. The team's going to be looking to him. Who do you think is going to players to look out for and to watch for in this 2 matches?
It's tough, dude, because as you're mentioning, one of the big downsides of this tour is that a lot of these players are not even close to be part of the first team or even being considered for World Cup. Maybe for Gold Cup in this year, but not for the World Cup in general. I think we should definitely follow, in my opinion, Ramon Juarez. He could be one of those players that maybe he's not going to be the starting center back, but he can definitely take the spot of Victor Guzman, who is the third string center back, right? And I think another interesting one for me is Gilberto Mora, that teenager from Cholos de Tijuana, who is a very, very interesting player. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes the spot of a Marcelo Flores or someone who, again, is not going to be a starting player, but is definitely a third string, second string option that Vasco Aguirre can use for Gold Cup. And if everything goes well, he continues to grow, definitely consider him as, El Principito Guardado of this generation, right? Because that's how Guardado started with La Volpe. He was called up as a third string player, ended up playing in the World Cup, and did amazingly well.
Well, Mexico, as we know, is coming into this match after beating Honduras 4-0 in the CONCACAF Nations League quarterfinals, 4-2 on aggregate. So they're going to be hoping to build off of that win. Again, this isn't, like we mentioned plenty of times, the main roster, so take that with a grain of salt. Adrian, keeping that in mind, man, what are your predictions for these matches?
See, I don't see... Listen, I think it's going to be a dire trip for Mexico. I don't see how they go unscathed out of Brazil or Argentina. I think they're going to lose 2-0 against Inter de Porto Alegre and a frantic big loss against River Plate 3-1. I just don't see how this team of Mexico or Liga MX players can actually fend off, hopefully these are packed stadiums. I believe the one, at least in River, is going to be a packed stadium. So hopefully they're able to withstand the pressure and roll with the punches. But I find it really difficult to believe that Efraín Alvarez and Memote Martinez will have the experience needed to withstand, the pressure of playing away from home, and also just having the sheer talent to overcome these two teams. At least call me a pessimist, dude, but I just don't see how Mexico does well.
And to clear it up before we start getting hate here in the comments, Adrian, I think you and I both are in agreement that there are plenty of Liga MX teams that could go to Brazil or to Argentina and beat club teams down there. It's just this Selección Mexicana, who has never played together, this roster, going down there playing a bunch of, not rejects per se, right? But a bunch of second tier players playing against one of Argentina's biggest as they prepare for their league and one of Brazil's top teams. I'm a little bit more optimistic. I think they're going to go into Brazil and get a tie. I think it's going to be a very boring match, 0-0, 1-1 maybe. But I believe as well that they're going to lose to River Plate, maybe 3-1, 2-0. But again, too bad we don't have Libertadores to really test out Mexican clubs against Argentina clubs. But I think
that's a different conversation, dude. I mean, this totally isn't even the best
of Liga MX Mexican players.
Exactly, the best lineup of Mexicans from Liga MX.
Yeah, for sure. And even if it was, you still have club teams being every day they play together. They have that chemistry
Yes,
versus,
it's just different.
yeah, it is very different. But nonetheless, it is a good experience for these players. And maybe we have one or two that really stands out and works his way into, like you said, maybe a Gold Cup roster, right?
Yes.
So again, just to recap here, Mexico plays Inter on January 16th, and then they play on the 21st against River Plate. River's final match before their season starts, so it should be a good one there. Both of them should be decent matches. So Adrian, man, as we wrap up this episode, bro, where can listeners find us, dude?
They can always find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit like button, and turn on the notifications. You can also find us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast on. Last but not least, you can also find us on Twitter and TikTok and Instagram. We post memes, latest news, and shorts of our episodes.
TikTok for now, unless it gets banned. Right?
Yes.
But let us know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on these two matches? What are your predictions score wise? Who do you hope to stand out from Mexico for this? What tactics do you think Vasco Aguirre should implement to try to get results here? Definitely like interacting with you guys and reading y'all's comments there in the comments below. And if you're unsubscribed, help us reach 1,000 subscribers. Let us get to that milestone. And, we're going to, as we get closer, we'll be giving details away off our giveaway. So hit the subscribe button and little bell icon if you haven't already. At the end, good episode, bro. See you in the next one, man.
Take it easy, man.
See ya.
Deuce.